Consider for a moment a simple truth.
A dog diligently guards your house, ever vigilant. A horse faithfully hauls heavy loads, never complaining. A cow generously gives milk, providing sustenance. And what, pray tell, does a cat actually do? It scratches with impunity your most cherished sofa, blithely ignores your most earnest commands, and relentlessly wakes you up at 5 in the morning because in its esteemed opinion, its food bowl is a scandalous 3/4 empty. From a purely practical standpoint, devoid of all sentimentality, it is undeniably the most remarkably useless companion humankind has ever, in its infinite wisdom, chosen to domesticate. And yet, despite this glaring lack of utility, over 500 million of these undeniably tiny, undeniably furry, and undeniably tyrannical creatures reside comfortably within our very homes. We, in our inexplicable devotion, willingly spend billions upon billions of currency on their every whim, readily forgive their every transgression, no matter how egregious, and coo with unadulterated delight over their every single solitary move, no matter how mundane. This, my friends, is the ultimate paradox, a riddle wrapped in a furball. How, in the name of all that is logical, did the most supremely self-centered and fiercely independent creature on this entire planet become so extraordinarily successful and so universally beloved? How did an animal that essentially domesticated itself, a feat of unparalleled audacity, manage to so masterfully manipulate the most dominant species on Earth, namely us? To truly unravel this captivating mystery, to understand the very essence of feline allure, we need to delve deep beneath its seemingly innocent fur. Literally and figuratively, we must get under its skin. We shall meticulously examine its remarkable body, perfectly designed for the ancient art of hunting. We shall painstakingly decode its intricate language, expertly crafted for the singular purpose of communicating with us humans, and we shall carefully trace its incredible journey, from the untamed wilderness to the privileged position of residing right upon our laps. Prepare yourselves, dear readers, because after this thorough and enlightening exploration, you will undoubtedly look at your own personal furry dictator with a whole new level of profound respect, and perhaps a touch of bewildered awe. To genuinely understand the cat, we must first deconstruct it, piece by painstaking piece, almost as if assembling a complex puzzle. At first superficial glance, it appears to be nothing more than a soft, supple and cuddly creature, but beneath that deceptively innocent fur lies a true feat of evolutionary engineering, honed and perfected by countless millennia of relentless evolution. Let us begin, then, with the very foundation, the skeleton itself. A cat's body possesses almost 40 more bones than a human's comparatively clunky frame. This is certainly no mere accident of nature. The distinct lack of rigid collarbones and the presence of extremely flexible ligaments meticulously positioned between its vertebrae allow it to perform the most incredible acrobatic feats imaginable, squeezing effortlessly through impossibly tight spaces, contorting itself into unbelievably improbable angles, and of course, always without fail, landing gracefully on its feet. This is not some form of feline magic, but rather a testament to the immutable laws of physics. A remarkably flexible spine combined with the innate ability to precisely rotate its entire body in mid-air make it a natural-born stunt artist, a furry Cirque du Soleil performer. And what of its ears? They are certainly not merely decorative appendages. They are, in fact, high-precision auditory locators of unparalleled sensitivity. Imagine, if you will, each of your own ears being controlled by no fewer than 12 separate and distinct muscles. Cats possess this very capability, allowing them to rotate their ears a full 180 degrees, completely independently of each other, picking up the faintest rustle of a potential rodent snack from dozens upon dozens of yards away. They can hear in the ultrasonic range, up to a remarkable 60 kHz, while the comparatively limited human auditory range tops out at a paltry 20 kHz. The world is literally filled with sounds that cats can effortlessly hear, sounds that we, in our auditory ignorance, can scarcely even begin to imagine. The heart of this miniature predator beats at a truly furious pace, from 110 to 140 beats per minute, almost twice as fast as our own comparatively sluggish rate. This rapid heartbeat is absolutely necessary for instant mobilization, allowing it to transition from a state of complete and utter rest to an explosive burst of breathtaking speed in a mere fraction of a single second. But perhaps its most truly amazing tool, its most remarkable adaptation, is its whiskers, more properly known as vibrissae. These are not merely hairs, as one might casually assume. Each individual whisker is intricately wired directly to the nervous system and acts as a supersensitive sensor, providing a constant stream of vital information about its surroundings. With them, a cat can accurately measure the precise width of a narrow passage without even seeing it, sense the slightest changes in air currents to navigate effortlessly in complete darkness, and even gather subtle information about ambient temperature and atmospheric pressure. If its whiskers are pointing forward, the cat is clearly interested in something in its immediate vicinity. If, conversely, they are pressed back against its face, it is likely frightened or actively preparing to defend itself. It is, in essence, a true onboard computer, a sophisticated sensory array. And finally, a fun and fascinating fact: if you have ever, even fleetingly, wondered whether cats sweat, the answer is, surprisingly, yes. But they only do it, rather discreetly, through the pads located on their paws. So, if your beloved pet has left damp paw prints on the floor, it might be experiencing a touch of anxiety or, more likely, simply be slightly overheated. Every single element of its body, from the very tip of its tail to the pads of its paws, serves one singular purpose: to be as effective as absolutely possible, to be the ultimate predator in miniature form. Now that we have thoroughly covered the hardware, so to speak, let us move on to the equally fascinating software, namely communication. And here is the truly big surprise, the revelation that might just change the way you perceive your feline companion forever. That signature meow you hear every single day is not, in fact, cat language in the traditional sense. More precisely, it is a language that cats have specifically and exclusively developed for the sole purpose of communicating with us humans, a testament to their remarkable adaptability and their undeniable mastery of interspecies communication. In the untamed expanse of the natural world, grown cats almost never communicate with each other through meows. This particular sound serves as a signal of infancy, a plaintive cry that kittens employ to summon their mothers. However, following the domestication of these fascinating creatures, cats swiftly came to understand that this very same mournful sound had an extraordinary effect on those large, somewhat clumsy, two-legged beings we call humans. They quite successfully maintained this infantile vocalization within their adult repertoire. Cats possess the capacity to produce approximately 100 different sounds, which is a full 10 times greater than the vocal range of dogs. A significant portion of this diverse array of vocalizations is strategically aimed at persuading us to provide them with sustenance, to bestow upon them affectionate petting, or to grant them passage through a closed door. Furthermore, the more one engages in verbal communication with a cat, the more talkative they tend to become in their responses. Nevertheless, spoken words represent merely the visible peak of a much larger submerged structure. The primary mode of communication for cats is, in fact, body language, and the tail serves as its most vital instrument. It is an undeniable barometer of their emotional state. Should a cat approach you with its tail held in a high and erect position, perhaps even exhibiting a slight quivering at the very tip, this signifies the ultimate expression of trust and affection. They reserve this particular greeting for those whom they consider to be within their inner circle. It is worth noting, as an aside, that their wild counterparts do not engage in this behavior, typically holding their tails in a horizontal or lowered position. Conversely, a deliberate swishing of the tail from one side to the other, quite unlike the wagging of a dog's tail, does not in any way indicate happiness. Rather, it serves as a sign of inner conflict, a state of indecision. For instance, a cat perched upon a windowsill, observing a bird outside, might exhibit this tail-swishing behavior. Within the cat, two conflicting desires are engaged in a battle: the primal hunter's instinct, which urges attack, and the voice of common sense, which counters with "but I am inside, it is pointless." And of course, there is the well-known behavior of milking or kneading with their paws. This particular reflex is rooted in their early kittenhood, during which the kitten stimulates the flow of milk from its mother through this very action. By carrying this habit into their adult lives, the cat is demonstrating a state of utter bliss, comfort, and profound trust. It is as if the cat is conveying the sentiment, "In your presence, I feel small and safe once more." We have already expressed our admiration for the cat as an engineering marvel and a master of communication. However, within this community of furry creatures, there exist true stars whose achievements leave us utterly astonished. We now enter the cat's own version of the Guinness Book of World Records, a repository of amazing stories and remarkable feats. Let us begin with the subject of size. The average domestic cat typically weighs approximately 5 kilograms, or 11 pounds. However, there are notable exceptions, true giants among their kind. The heaviest cat in the world, officially recognized as such, was Himi from Australia. His weight reached an astounding 21 kilograms or 46 pounds, accompanied by a waistline measuring 84 centimeters, or 33 inches. Just imagine, a creature resembling a small child covered entirely in fur. At the opposite end of the spectrum, we find Tinker Toy, a diminutive Himalayan cat who weighed a mere fraction over half a kilogram, or 1.5 pounds, with a height at the withers of only 7 centimeters, or 2 8/10 inches. He remained, quite literally, a kitten for the entirety of his life. Naturally, when discussing size, it is impossible to overlook their wild relatives. Many people consider the lion to be the king of the beasts, and the largest member of the cat family. However, this is a misconception. In reality, tigers are significantly larger than lions. These majestic predators can attain lengths of up to 3 meters, which is almost 10 feet, excluding the tail, and can weigh in the vicinity of 300 kilograms, or 660 pounds. A single tiger is capable of consuming up to 40 kilograms, or 88 pounds, of meat in a single sitting. This serves as a powerful reminder that even our domesticated purring companions are, in essence, miniature versions of perfectly evolved predators. The lifespan of cats is another aspect that can occasionally surprise us. On average, wild cats live for about 5 years, but domestic cats with proper care and attention can bring joy to our lives for a considerably longer period. The record holder for longevity was a cat named Puss from England, who sadly passed away 2 days after her 36th birthday. To provide some perspective, 36 cat years is equivalent to 168 human years. And what of fertility? Cats are undoubtedly champions of rapid reproduction. A single cat can produce up to 100 kittens during her lifetime. History contains accounts of some truly extraordinary record holders. In Texas, during the 1950s, a cat named Dusty fathered more than 400 kittens throughout his extended life, with the final litters appearing when he had already surpassed the age of 18 years. Furthermore, the record for the highest number of surviving kittens in a single litter belongs to Bluebell from South Africa, who successfully gave birth to 14 healthy kittens. These fascinating details illuminate the extraordinary diversity and wonder that defines the feline world. From diminutive creatures to truly imposing giants, from cats enjoying exceptional longevity to those proving to be incredibly prolific parents, each and every cat possesses a unique character. Yet together, they constitute one of the most remarkable families to grace our planet Earth. The journey of the cat towards its current status as a global beloved companion has been a winding and intricate path, fraught with dramatic shifts and unforeseen turns. It is a captivating narrative where initial reverence gradually transformed into persecution, and a chance partnership unexpectedly blossomed into one of the strongest bonds ever forged between different species. The story commences approximately 10,000 years ago in the Middle East, a period when humans were transitioning towards a more settled way of life, embracing agriculture as a primary means of sustenance. Our ancestors began constructing granaries to store their harvested grains, which in turn, inadvertently attracted hordes of rodents seeking an easy meal. It was at this juncture that wild cats tentatively entered the scene. Initially, they were not drawn to humans themselves, but rather to the readily available prey that the granaries provided. People soon recognized that these small, agile predators were, in fact, the best possible guardians for their precious harvests. Thus, a mutually beneficial alliance was born. The cats gained access to a reliable food source, while humans received invaluable protection from the ravages of pests. Cats attained their zenith of societal standing in ancient Egypt, where they were not only respected but actively revered as sacred animals, closely associated with the powerful goddess Batet. The act of killing a cat was considered a heinous crime, punishable by nothing less than death. However, this golden age of glory was eventually followed by a period of darkness and adversity. During the medieval era in Europe, prevailing attitudes towards cats underwent a profound and unsettling transformation. They gradually became viewed with suspicion and fear, often portrayed as accomplices of the devil and witches, embodying the very personifications of darkness and evil. This shift in perception led to a period of mass extermination. Cats were cruelly burned at the stake and heartlessly drowned in large numbers. This widespread cruelty had devastating and far-reaching consequences. The disappearance of the natural enemy of rodents led to an uncontrolled and exponential growth in rat populations, which in turn were carriers of fleas, the primary distributors of the dreaded bubonic plague. Many historians now believe that the systematic extermination of cats was, in fact, one of the significant contributing factors that exacerbated the devastating Black Death epidemic, which tragically claimed the lives of approximately 1/3 of the entire population of Europe. Only with the passage of time did pragmatism eventually prevail over the deeply ingrained superstitions. People slowly began to remember the cat's unsurpassed and invaluable hunting talents. For instance, in England, cats began to be officially enlisted and employed to protect state granaries and vital food warehouses from rodent infestations. A single cat, through its diligent hunting of mice, was estimated to save up to 10 tons of grain each year. They continue to hold this important position to this very day, even receiving an official allowance for their services. Today, cats are firmly and securely established within our homes and, more importantly, within our hearts. And, as a growing body of research consistently demonstrates, this is for very good reason. Statistics confirm that individuals who own cats are significantly less likely to suffer from debilitating heart attacks and, on average, tend to live longer lives than those who do not have a feline companion. Perhaps their calming presence and their rhythmic, measured purring genuinely possess a therapeutic effect, contributing to our overall well-being. Thus, having journeyed from deity to outcast and then back to a valuable worker, the cat has made its most significant career leap of all, becoming a cherished and professional companion. When the topic turns to cats, logic and scientific reasoning often seem to give way to whispers, myths, and deeply ingrained mysteries. For centuries, these enigmatic animals have been attributed with supernatural abilities and extraordinary powers. Let us now attempt to separate the folklore from the established facts and gain a deeper understanding of what truly lies behind these persistent and enigmatic beliefs. One of the most common and widely held beliefs is that cats possess the ability to heal. Numerous owners wholeheartedly swear that their beloved pet unerringly locates the source of their pain, instinctively lying down on an aching joint or a troubled stomach, and that, remarkably, the pain begins to subside. Science remains somewhat skeptical of these claims, but it does offer some rational and plausible explanations. Firstly, a cat's normal body temperature typically ranges between 38 and 39 degrees Celsius, equivalent to 100 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. In essence, a cat functions like a living, purring heating pad, which can effectively relax tense muscles and alleviate painful spasms. Secondly, there is the purring itself. Studies have conclusively shown that cat purrs occur at frequencies ranging from 25 to 150 Hz. Vibrations within this specific frequency range are known to promote bone and tissue healing. Perhaps the cat is primarily healing itself, rather than us, but we inadvertently fall under the beneficial influence of this remarkable process, reaping the rewards of their soothing vibrations. Another captivating legend speaks of the feline ability to foresee impending trouble. Countless stories from around the world tell of cats exhibiting unmistakable anxiety before earthquakes strike, volcanic eruptions spew forth their fury, or even before devastating bombings occur.
But there is
no parapsychology intrinsically involved in these remarkable displays. The true answer, it is believed, lies in their phenomenally developed and incredibly acute senses. Cats possess the uncanny ability to pick up on the slightest, most subtle vibrations rippling through the Earth's crust, minute changes in atmospheric pressure that often precede such events, or the buildup of static electricity that precedes cataclysms. What appears to us as a mystical premonition, a supernatural warning, is simply data, raw information, received and processed by their incredibly sensitive radars, their naturally enhanced sensory perception. Of course, there exists also a whole intricate layer of superstition surrounding cats, beliefs that are often difficult, if not impossible, to definitively verify. For example, the notion that a cat hissing at a guest is somehow sensing their ill intentions, while a purring cat is sensing good intentions. Most likely, the animal is simply reacting in its own unique way to the person's subtle body language, their individual scent, and the particular tone of their voice, all cues which we ourselves may not even be consciously aware of. And the deeply rooted belief that sheltering a homeless kitten invariably brings good luck, prosperity, and fortune into one's life has a simple, readily apparent humanistic basis: the inherent satisfaction of helping another living creature. And yet, even acknowledging and understanding all the rational explanations, the logical reasoning behind these perceptions, it remains undeniably difficult to shake the pervasive feeling that cats see and feel something more, something beyond the realm of our own limited human senses. They seem to live on the border, the very edge of our world and their own, remaining creatures both mysterious and fundamentally incomprehensible to us. And perhaps it is precisely this ambiguity, this inherent duality, that makes them so endlessly attractive and endearing. And so, our journey through the captivating world of cats is drawing to a close. We began with the seemingly simple image of a common house pet, a familiar sight in homes across the globe, and we have ended with a rich and detailed portrait of one of the most complex and undeniably successful creatures to have ever graced this planet. Now, when you look at your own cat, perhaps lazily stretching out on the rug in a sunbeam, you will undoubtedly see something more, something deeper. You will see a direct descendant of ancient and formidable predators, whose primal instincts still slumber just beneath the surface of that soft, fluffy fur. You will see a biomechanical marvel, a wonder of evolution, with sophisticated locators instead of mere ears, and a complex navigation system cleverly embedded within its sensitive whiskers. You will recognize in it a virtuoso psychologist, an expert in human behavior, who has carefully developed a special, nuanced language to subtly manipulate your most cherished emotions. You will remember its incredible journey through the vast expanse of history, from sacred deity, revered and worshipped in the grand temples of ancient Egypt, to a persecuted outcast, unfairly demonized in the dark ages of medieval Europe, and finally to an indispensable companion, a beloved friend, whose comforting purring has become synonymous with domestic warmth, security, and contentment.
The cat is, without question, a living paradox, a walking contradiction.
It is fiercely independent, yet constantly seeks our affection and companionship. It can appear selfish at times, yet gives us immeasurable peace and solace. It never became completely ours, never fully domesticated, retaining a vital part of its wild, untamed, rebellious soul. And perhaps that is ultimately why we love it so deeply. Because it allows us, in its own unique way, to touch the mystery that lives right here, within the very walls of our home. So the next time that tiny tyrant, that furry overlord, wakes you up before the crack of dawn with an insistent meow, or casually knocks something valuable off the table with a flick of its paw, just smile indulgently. You are not merely dealing with a simple animal, a mere pet. You are sharing your life, your home, with a tangible piece of great history, a living embodiment of centuries of evolution and adaptation. And having a cat at home, as the old saying goes, is always a good sign, a harbinger of happiness and contentment.